We're initiating a systematic investigation into a fundamental restructuring of global power. The era of geopolitical leverage defined solely by the flow of crude oil is over. In its place, a new paradigm is being constructed from the ground up. We're talking about a framework built entirely on technological infrastructure, massive data pipelines, and the sheer, unyielding raw power required to run them. The pieces are moving quietly, but the scale of this is absolutely unprecedented. While the rest of the world remains hyper-focused on traditional borders and conventional conflicts, a far more critical question remains unanswered. Who actually owns the ground beneath your feet? From the local shipping ports handling your everyday goods to the deep-sea fiber-optic cables powering your home internet connection, a silent revolution is executing a hostile takeover of global logistics and digital networks. Today, we're uncovering the meticulously planned blueprint of this exact expansion. The reality we're facing is stark. Sand is turning into silicon dominance. Massive sovereign wealth funds have fundamentally altered their entire strategies. They're no longer just passively parking their vast wealth in safe, predictable Western equities. Instead, they're actively leveraging trillions in liquidity, and it's crucial to understand what this kind of liquidity actually means. This is ready, deployable capital that can move instantaneously, completely bypassing the slow, tied-up assets that Western competitors have to rely on. With this immense financial agility, they're systematically buying up critical energy grids, securing strategic minerals, and outright purchasing the digital backbone of the global economy. As mapped out here, this is a definitive pivot. Documented capital deployment originating from the Gulf reveals that sovereign wealth funds are deliberately transitioning away from relying on traditional petrodollars. Now, their goal is to actively own the physical architecture of the net zero economy. Capital is being deployed across continents with absolute precision, specifically targeting the exact geographical points where future energy and digital infrastructure intersect. Section 1. AI's massive power crisis. To really understand this blueprint, we have to examine the primary commercial bottleneck of 2026. The computation demands of our future are violently colliding with the infrastructure of our past. The sheer density of AI workloads presents a systemic, almost insurmountable challenge to our aging regional electricity grids. Think about this. A single AI-related task can consume up to 1,000 times more electricity than a traditional web search. Because of this massive draw, a handful of concentrated AI facilities can now completely destabilize a regional power supply in a way that hundreds of conventional low-power data centers never could. And the trajectory of this consumption is incredibly steep. Industry forecasts project a staggering 31-fold surge in AI power demand over the next few years alone. This extreme requirement for energy exists because artificial intelligence models don't just use power in short bursts. They require constant, unblinking, massive power loads running 24 hours a day to train effectively. This single, undeniable reality has completely transformed site selection for digital infrastructure. It's no longer just a function of network latency or real estate costs. It's now a desperate, highly critical search for available gigawatts. So naturally, capital is aggressively following power availability. Tech giants, the hyperscalers of the industry who operate massive global networks of data centers, are abandoning heavily constrained Western electrical grids. Instead, they're forging multi-billion-dollar alliances with energy-rich regions. Look at Microsoft's $15.2 billion commitment to develop data centers in the UAE. That isn't just a real estate deal. It's directly tied to the region's unique ability to support large-scale renewable energy partnerships and provide the massive, stable power capacity that Western grids are currently struggling to guarantee. Section 2. Connecting invisible data highways. But securing that power is only phase 1. We're also tracking heavy, concentrated investment in the physical pathways connecting East and West. There are aggressive, highly strategic infrastructural targets in the crosshairs right now. Sovereign friends are actively acquiring subsea cables, expanding massive AI data centers, and dominating telecommunication networks. Just recently, Saudi Arabia's PIF and the STC Group signed definitive agreements to form the region's largest telecom tower company. This effectively monopolizes the physical transmission of digital signals across a critical global crossroads. Consider the incredible vulnerability of these invisible highways that silently connect us, the complex global network of subsea cables resting in the depths of the ocean. By geographically positioning key data centers and strategically securing landing rights for these subsea cables in the Middle East, these nations are executing an absolute masterstroke. Whoever controls where these cables land effectively dictates the physical jurisdiction of global data. They ensure that an ever-growing percentage of all global internet traffic must physically route through their sovereign servers, granting them unprecedented leverage over international communications. As one sharp industry analysis bluntly states, the capital is patient, but the opportunity window is not. Sovereign-backed buyers are utilizing highly advanced AI site screening systems to aggressively analyze utility data and global fiber route maps at massive scale. Crucially, they're targeting interconnection queues. They're identifying exactly where the power grid currently has capacity, and they're locking down those grid connections long before traditional corporate competitors even recognize that a lucrative opportunity exists. Section 3. Monopolizing the transition metals. This blueprint extends far beyond just digital data. Immense sovereign capital is currently flowing into the global south to dominate the extraction of transition metals. We're looking at copper mines, lithium refineries, and massive green hydrogen projects as prime acquisition targets. These aren't just standard commodities. They are the fundamental physical building blocks of high-capacity batteries, modernized electrical grids, and zero-carbon fuel systems. By comprehensively controlling the very supply chain required for renewable energy, these funds are making sure they dictate the mechanics of global power long after the last barrels of oil run out. This overarching strategy is frequently executed through complex strategic joint ventures. A prime example is the powerful partnership formed between Saudi Arabia's Manara Minerals and Vale, specifically aimed at accelerating the global growth of the energy transition metals business. By infusing massive capital at the foundational extraction level, they are systematically locking down the lifeblood of the future global economy. Section 4. The Western Regulatory Pushback. Of course, a silent, methodical takeover of this scale has triggered a massive geopolitical reaction. Western governments are practically scrambling to build legislative firewalls against this opaque shift in power. The European Union, for instance, recently implemented a heavily revised foreign direct investment screening regulation. This legal mechanism is specifically engineered to aggressively scrutinize incoming investments that threaten national security. It places a direct, unwavering focus on identifying opaque ownership structures, basically corporate shells designed to intentionally obscure the true beneficial owners and any of their potential problematic geopolitical connections. This legislative firewall is being built through meticulous, systematic steps. European authorities are broadening the regulatory coverage of indirect foreign control. They're implementing strict, mandatory screening mechanisms across all member states, and they're granting regional authorities the unprecedented power to retroactively investigate unnotified historical transactions. Simultaneously, in the United States, foreign sovereign wealth funds are facing heavily heightened scrutiny from CFIUS, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, which is making it significantly harder to quietly acquire critical domestic infrastructure. The catalyst for this intense defensive pushback stems entirely from historical precedent. Geopolitical think tanks point directly to previous covert cyber espionage programs as the primary driver behind the West's heightened technological defenses. Instances like the deployment of Pegasus spyware and other sophisticated covert surveillance initiatives have deeply entrenched national security concerns regarding foreign ownership of critical tech infrastructure. Right now, Western intelligence agencies are operating on a very simple assumption. Whoever controls the hardware inevitably controls the data flowing through it. Section 5. The Post-Oil World Order. So how is this immense wealth fundamentally rewriting global markets? Well, you have to learn to carefully separate the signal from the noise. The mainstream media overwhelmingly focuses its attention on flashy distractions, things like the widely publicized friction of paused futuristic megaprojects, massive multi-billion-dollar corporate write-downs, or the structurally underwater equity of highly visible automotive startups. But while the public watches those real estate and consumer-facing ventures stumble, the quiet, highly successful acquisitions of the world's physical and digital backbone are proceeding completely uninterrupted. The chilling reality is this: the transfer of wealth and power is not happening in secret, it is happening in plain sight. It's brilliantly hidden within complex, entirely everyday infrastructure deals, from the towering regional telecom infrastructure to the bustling shipping ports to the massive grid-scale power securing the absolute future of artificial intelligence computation. The new architects of the global economy are executing their design precisely as planned. The core parameters of geopolitical leverage have permanently changed. As sand definitively turns into silicon, the ultimate question is this: are you prepared to fully adapt your understanding of global markets to this entirely new reality? If you intend to survive and navigate the massive economic shifts ahead, you have to base your future strategic decisions on the concrete evidence presented today. Subscribe to this explainer, share this investigation with those who desperately need to understand the true underlying mechanics of global power, and prepare yourself for our next deep dive. We will see you in the boardroom.